similar?
No, actually, I joined Edmondo only last year with Corso Base. Actually, I was interested in working in English, since I teach English, but I couldn't do anything before I attended the base one. That's what I did, and this year, I attended more, how can I say, immersive and more interesting courses. I left here just because, well, basically because I didn't have much time, and then because my school wasn't ready, to use virtual world. Now it seems it is, so I'm getting ready.
So your school is actually using virtual worlds, and how? How do you do this?
Okay, it happened 2 years ago. 2 years ago that I tried the standalone version. So I installed OpenSim in my lab at school, and I worked with my students. They liked it a lot. We achieved wonderful, things, and then I decided, to go deeper and, seeking safe environment for the students. I landed in Edmondo because of course, I was here in Second Life years before, but I couldn't use it, actually. I really can't use Second Life in our school. Well, at school, actually, it's not safe for them.
And Sunacht asked you, is it secondary school, Laisha?
Secondary school, yes. I teach to land surveyors to be.
You teach land surveyors. Wow.
Yeah.
So there are students who are actually doing this profession of land surveying, right?
Yeah, geometry. Exactly.
Must love surveys, right?
Well, anyway, we really believe in virtual world, and so this year we also, but the headmaster was prepared one of UN, and asked in Edmondo, and so if everything goes fine, we will be working in Edmondo with a lot of students. And then we'll be checking space. I actually know about space since, since the very first day it came out. But it was, closed at the time. It was only for content creators. Since I'm not a content creator, then I just decided to wait and see.
When was that, when you first heard of it? Because I was surprised to come across this developed, software space, whatever, without having known about it and working on it for 7 or 8 years. So when did you hear about it?
Well, if I'm not wrong, it was a little earlier than 1 year ago. Because I tried to join, but then they refused because it was open. At the time, it was open only for content creators. Actually, might be even more than that, even longer than that. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it was at least 1 year ago.
Fantastic. Well, that is really, really wonderful development. that we will be talking about here as well. So if you can tell us a bit more what you know about space, that would be fantastic. So Maggie has asked me to kick this off officially somehow because she has, what is it, some repair guys in the house, so she can't talk.
Yes,
She has a flood, what?
yeah, she she has a mess right now there. Have people working in her home because it was flood, and they got this fan on, so it's noisy. So if Nellie have voice, she can introduce the panel and we can start the recording. And
Maggie's
then,
hair is
guys,
absolutely
go ahead.
gorgeous.
Yes, it is. It is like yours. It is absolutely gorgeous, definitely. And yes, she's knitting. Okay, I can do the intro. Let me... Okay, let's wait a few minutes more so people is here.
Hello everyone.
Hello, Cyber Besitos.
Hola besitos,
Oh.
Pionia. ¿Qué
So
tal?
nice to see you, babe.
Hi. Nice to see you. We missed
I'm
you.
Michelle.
Maggie is recording, right, Maggie? Mhm.
Is Hazel going to offer us medical help today? Because I need help.
Only when you've passed out. You have to lie on the floor, and then I'll recognise you.
How about political depression? Can you handle that?
We have cells. We
started.
have cells. We can put you in padded cells.
That's right. Thank you. Perfect.
Did you pass the first aid test here in Second Life, Hazel?
I'm just an assistant. Just an assistant.
Assistant
Medico.
That's okay. Our doctors don't know what they're doing either. Hi, Lucia.
I totally agree with Cyber.
Hi, everyone.
This is
Well,
the
Jens
the
was
word
saying
of the
that,
year. Hygge.
That's
Hyggelik.
right. It's apparently in the English dictionary now, isn't it, Jens?
Really?
Yeah.
That is the most amazing. Even books are written about Hygge.
Did Jens start
For
that?
the French dictionary next time, hey?
That's right. We'll be waiting. You know
I
how
think
the
Jens has
English-
some new words to add.
Welcome, Fidget. Lucia, you can have a seat.
Yeah, I can. Thank you.
It's amazing the works that have been done on this languages wiki, Heike. You've been really, really gathering all the troops back together. It's amazing.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun going over my past machinimas. It was really lovely to do.
Yeah, that's right. It's same with me. Looking at all the old wikis that I had from my former projects with students. It's good. It's good to see.
It is.
I'll be looking forward to read it.
No, Seth doesn't have voice. He's one of my students and he hasn't arrived yet. The Abby is here, but he has classes in exactly at 2 o'clock. So he's late 1 minute, but he'll be joining us. So I got 2 computers. He's going to be in another computer so he can listen to you. And maybe I can lend him mine because we only have 1 mic. So we'll see at the end if we can talk to you for a while.
A language learner. We should put him on a silver plate and put him right in the middle. Pass him around.
Our
One language learner amongst amongst so many teachers. He is the target group. Thank you for bringing him along. Now I don't feel I feel like on a podest because I'm the only one sitting here on my bench. Do you want to hook a bit closer, everyone? Otherwise I feel lonely.
Got scared that I might be sitting on your lap when I did that script.
Thank you. It's lovely. So I'm waiting for the kickoff by Pionia, so for the moment.
Well, I don't know. Do you think that we can start? Yes?
Sure.
Okay, so, well, welcome everyone. We are so proud to be able to introduce our vLanguage panel with EduNation Residents today. We got Shelwyn Corrigan, Heiki Philp, Dennis Newcome, and Nowak, and as well as other EduNation Residents telling us today about their wonderful work of 10 years for the development of language learning in virtual worlds. And they are also going to introduce a co-created wiki resource that is being designed for those interested in the research and development by virtual language experts from around the world. So let's introduce Heiki Philp. She is the CEO of Let's Talk Online, a technology support provider for language learning and events in real time. She's the co-initiator of EU founded Lancelot, that was a virtual classroom, and Avalon, also in virtual world, and the Camelot project Machinima for language learners. She's founder of the Virtual Roundtable Conference and co-owns EduNation in Second Life, which hosts a community of language experts. I am part of this community, and you know, and really exciting. It's really special for me to have them today telling us about their work. Also with us, Shelwyn Corrigan, that she has a master's in linguistics and a master's in digital media and learning, and a certification in multimedia studies. She has worked in digital design since 1994. In addition, she has taught ESL and EFL in Europe, South America, and at the universities in California and New York. Her interests are in teaching pronunciation and academic oral skills and the integration of new media in the classroom. Together with her colleagues Laura Jeffcoat and Anna Gemma Gallego Garcia, direct the Learned in Town school. It's a school that teaches languages in Second Life. Also, we get Nowak. Nowak has a master in linguistics and a certification in blended learning, ICT in the classroom. She's also a specialist in learning and digital games in ELT. She has more than 20 years teaching experience at companies, secondary school, technical college, university, the technical university in Germany. and was a moderator at Matching Evo 2015 and has been experimenting with several tools in Second Life. She is also a team of the Evo Village. Also, we got Dennis Newcome, Osna, that's how we call him, and we love him. Osna has a MA and he has taught EFL in Africa, Arabia, Norway and Germany in middle schools, secondary school, teacher training colleges and technical university, also in an arts university. He was consultant for short periods in Bosnia and Kosovo, and conferences have taken him to Poland, Hungary, Las Palmas, Russia and England. I hope he comes to Venezuela one time. No, he has developed his interest in Second Life in his he's retired now, but he's still working and creating, and he is known in Second Life as Osna Kantev Nesterov. Okay. Also Hazel. Hazel, where are you, Hazel? Is Hazel here?
You don't recognise me. I'm in armour tonight.
She's
in our first aid. Our first aid tonight.
Hazel, a wonderful participant and creator and helper and loving person. Yes, we are avatars, but we are wonderful educators out here. Jens Nerido is also part of the EduNation GAN. And we got Letty Pienaar, also wonderful Letty. She's wonderful producing matching emails. She has worked together with Evo Village, and she's involved in all the projects that EduNation takes on. Also Cyber, my dear Cyber Placebo, she's also part of the EduNation GAN. So I think we can, if somebody is missing, Carol Rainbow also, all this group that is here today, and they are going to tell you about their work for 10 years. This is a really passionate and dedicated group of magicians, all of here. Randall is missing, that he's a wizard also here in EduNation. So I will give you the floor, Heike, so you can start with the session today. And thank you everybody for coming and joining us.
So much, thank you. Does everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, if you hear me fine, fantastic. Now the session is not about me, but about you. So if that's okay, we have something like, well, it's late hours for many of us, so I would say we will conclude by 1:45, roughly. If you stay for a chat till the full hour is good. But I've brought along a presentation which is about 10 minutes long, roughly, and I wouldn't mind sort of putting it to a bit later on, because a lot of the things that you probably will be able to share, if we could have a little discussion before I show the presentation, if that's okay with you, because so many here are the very essence of why EduNation exists, and I was wondering whether I could ask every one of you a little bit about what you're contributing towards this vLanguages resource and what you've been doing on EduNation and so forth. So those who haven't got voice, could I ask you perhaps kindly to share in chat a little bit about yourself, what you're doing in virtual worlds, are you a language educator, and what kind of projects are you in? This is the most wonderful thing of all of it, that we bring to this table, or to the fire, as it were. It's like a stone soup. I mean, for me, it's a stone soup activity. Here's the fireplace, and every one of us brings something along. So I'm happy to pass the word around. I will keep, as I said, about 10 minutes for the presentation, for a little bit at the end, if that's okay, because then a lot of the things that will be said by you guys I don't need to mention again. So I'll first of all pass over to Cyber, perhaps, or Shelwyn. Shelwyn, I mean, you've been very, very active in virtual worlds for so many years. You run a language school. So perhaps if you could let us know what keeps you in doing what you're doing, what's your passion, where do you see the developments going on in the future, what's been the kind of work you've been involved in, and so it'd be lovely if you could tell us more about it.
Okay. Well, can you hear me? Well, we've really gotten our students involved in projects because we really believe that when they create their own projects, they can sort of express their passions. So what I posted was several machinimas because our students for quite a while were very inspired by making machinimas. So we did anything from pronunciation to drama. They created their own very long, we spent about 8 weeks creating a mystery, a murder mystery, and they're extremely involved. Now, getting students in and convincing them to come in is one thing. But once they're in, they're totally convinced. And we have such dedicated students. They never leave. If they leave, they come back. And they really love the idea of doing projects. And we also get them into building and creating and building things that
We just lost you, shall we?
which we started at. Oh, can you hear me now?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah, I punk out every now and then. But anyway, we really tried to get student-driven projects. We had a student who wanted to do a podcast. We had a student who wanted to teach people how to design clothes in Second Life. And we also had people who just wanted to do public speaking and practice their skills. So we created all these classes based on what students want. And then they got very interested, and we were in a period of machinima, so they got very interested in acting in machinima. So that's kind of what we've been doing the last 3 years. Now we're kind of going more into the game thing. Heike's kind of leading us that way, but we're creating a lot of games activities and different activities that students can do both synchronously and asynchronously. So we have a very dedicated group of students, and we're just really happy with our little town. We just have a little town, Learn It Town, and it's just enough for us. And I've been working in Edmundo with Anne, and I think I'll let Anne explain a little bit more about that because we had some very creative ideas on that. First, we built a house and covered floor plans, and second, we built a museum and did a class in a museum. So I'll let Anne talk about that a little bit. Are there any questions?
Just had a beautiful idea because she's pasting the page where you can learn a lot more about Learn It Town and where you posted the machinima here in text chat. That's wonderful. Thanks, Cyber.
So yeah, we've gotten our students very involved in projects, so we're very project-based. And it's been very successful, and we're still waiting. We're waiting. The Oculus Rift kind of took away something from us, but now I think people are coming back to the ground. There's a little bit of a shakedown now, so people are coming back to us. And that's it.
Did you mention the age of students? Sorry, I might
Yeah,
miss it.
the age group. Well, now we're serving an age group that's pretty much adult and professional, and they really want to improve their professional skills. So in Vietnam, we have people who actually work in English, and they need to improve their skills in English to work. But now we're getting more younger students, so we're getting more high school students, and that's really great. So we see a little bit of a change right now, which is exciting. Any questions? How did they get here?
Sorry, yeah, I missed the question. Again, sorry, go ahead.
Well, if they're younger, we have to actually create their avatars and keep them on the island because, there's a problem of them getting off the island. So we've been very strict about providing avatars and, locking them to our island. But we've had a lot of success with this, and the kids are just really excited. They go absolutely crazy. They want to build, actually. That's what they want to do. And they learn fast. They know what they're doing. They know more than we do after a very short period of time. Any other questions?
Then, Fidget, do you have voice? Fidget, do you want to share a little bit what you do as facilitator, trainer, guide, using languages on a multitude of levels? Points up the response. Okay, then what I just, for the recording's sake, sometimes that's difficult for pick up from the text chat. Fidget has said that he or she is not a language educator from the viewpoint of words, nor a teacher specifically. His or her label is facilitator, trainer, guide, and facilitates awareness and social and emotional skills, which includes use of language on a multitude of levels, including pre-verbal and verbal. And he or she is here because he's perennially curious. I love that. We also love your avatar, Fidget. Thank you so much. Perennial is not a word that I know, actually. Sorry. Fantastic. So, and I would love to pass the word to Carol a little bit about what she's been doing in the years, because she's one of the most active users of virtual worlds that I know of. She is forever around. She does tons of things in OpenSim. She wrote a book about machinima. She creates machinima all the time. And Carol, if you want to have a quick word of what keeps you here, what makes you passionate about virtual worlds, that would be lovely.
I'm not really sure what keeps me here. It's just part of my life, I think. That's probably the answer. But I have done quite a lot of teacher training here. I started off literally 8 to 10 years ago, teacher training, and that was simply because Oxfordshire at the time where I was working was very, very difficult to get all the teachers into day-long conferences to do training. And the one day I booked a big e-safety conference, which was community policemen, several trainers like me, and all sorts of things, and we booked food and coffee and the lot. 3 teachers turned up. And we went round the schools over the next few days and said, why weren't you there? You were planning on coming. And they all said, I couldn't afford it. We couldn't get supply teachers. We couldn't afford to have teachers out of school. So we decided to run all the sessions in Second Life. And instead of doing a day, because they couldn't come out of school, we did the sessions over a month for about 1.5 to 2 hours every Wednesday night for a month. And that worked very, very well. That's going back probably 8 or 10 years, and then after that I just seemed to end up here permanently. So I ran one of the Avalon courses, ran 2 Camelot training courses, done training in Evo, Mash in Evo, making machinima in Evo Village. Just lately I haven't been very active here. I seem to have been very busy in real life somehow. But we'll get back to machinima again at some point. I can't think of anything else impressive.
Thank you so much, Carol. Crystal, do you also have voice?
Yes, I have voice. So, I've worked with Carol for some time on Machinima. Actually, I got involved with Virtual Worlds in 2007 for the first time as project partner. I think it was that time. I was involved in many EU projects. Avalon was mentioned, and another one, University and Camelot I've been involved in. And actually I got very, very passionate about Machinima in 2013 with the first Machinevo well, you don't call it course, the event I was taking part in, and I just got hooked. So I don't know, I think since then I produced more than 180 machinima, and I just love it. So I loved the surrounding and everything so much that I got involved, or that I started studying in virtual environments, and I got my MA last year in virtual education, which I did at the University of the West of England. And yeah, so I'm still, you know, on and off. I'm the content manager of the University Association, an association that is dealing with virtual worlds, just in general, not only Second Life. And yeah, so that's mainly what I'm busy with. So have I killed you all? Nobody is saying anything anymore?
We hear you. Just thinking.
I stopped speaking.
What about Jens? Where is Jens?
Anne hasn't talked about
Oh, Anne, yes.
all of her stuff yet. I think I must have lost voice.
Wonderful machinimas. Anne,
Yeah.
you've got to talk about your machinimas. I love them.
Okay, well, yes, I do machinima because I normally don't have any material for my courses. I have very different courses. So I have been creating machinima ever since I started in Second Life. I started because I did the course, well, Machinevo in 2015, and ever since I have been making machinima with Carol, with Hazel, with Letty, with, well, almost everyone here, sitting here, has been on on one of my machinimas. And then I started working on different projects, like with teaching at Edmondo. But well, I'm working with Barbara McQueen on Edutopia. That's another project. It's a school in OpenSim, creating activities and teaching, and we're doing all kinds of things. It's a huge sim, and it's a language school. Well, my machinima, I think you can have a look at PB Works, and I just put 4 examples there, but I will be adding more. So, and I have been working with Shelwyn on Edmondo as well, and very, very clever and creative teachers in Italy, and I'm really happy that I had the opportunity to do that. So that's all. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
No questions?
Keeps you here. What do you think? Why virtual worlds is so special?
Well, I like virtual worlds because you can make everything possible. Everything you want to explain, you can just show. And my students love machinima, Fortunately, I cannot bring them into Second Life, but I show them the machinima and they love it.
And Anne, talk about the types of machinima you're making, because they're so unusual.
Oh yes, my machinima. Yes. Well, I do storytelling. I love storytelling, and I have been doing a lot of history. History from, well, German history and history from the city I live in. It's Düsseldorf. And there are so many funny stories about people and who lived here. So that's my favorite machinima, storytelling and emoting for advanced students. But I also like making a machinima for kids. And I also like making machinima to review grammar, because that's easier than, well, anything else. Anything else is boring. So another machinima type I'm doing is machinima with students. So I have one student who is helping me make machinima. He has been an actor, but now he's going to start making his own machinima. So I'm going to add that as well. And well, what else have I done? Oh yes, presentations. Carol and Hazel. Unfortunately, that's not right now on the page, but I'm going to add that as well. They have done a presentation, so I can show students how I would like them to carry out a presentation for their final marks. And well, I have a couple of other ideas still on the way, so I will put everything on the PB Works and you will be able to see it. But by now I have created about more than 100 machinima, and I also like to make little documentaries about interesting sims. So I've done a lot for Edutopia and a lot for well, Escape and different sims. The next is going to be Edmondo, because there is a lot to show there. Right.
This is, can I just put in here between the one thing that I love about virtual worlds is this multimodal way of conversations. Whilst Anne is telling about her machinima, and they are truly special. You must check them out. They're really fantastic with a lot of ideas put into it. And then the discussion is going on, and Maggie has been telling us a little bit about her background, her professional background, that she's been learning Spanish with somebody in virtual worlds, and she finds that she can speak a bit more now. But her background is in psyche, yeah, and she does Chilbao here in Second Life. Thank you for sharing that with us, Maggie. And Nellie, do you also want to perhaps put a little bit in text out, which I could read out loud for the recording? I know we know you know, you're the omnipresence, Nellie, and I really love your avatar today. I mean, that is just a fantastic major improvement. You're doing great. And share a little bit about what keeps you here, Nellie. What makes you do the SLMOOC? What makes you do the coming up the virtual world MOOCs? What drives you of doing this, especially? Yeah. With perhaps learners you have in mind, or you have upcoming projects, something about virtual worlds, I heard. And Lucy, also, please share your professional background. Julie, who can't sit down for some reason. She can stand all right. And at least her avatar is stable now. Please share in text chat what we cannot put in words here. And I'd like to give the word to Sunacht, who is also texting, but she has just done her PhD in virtual worlds and affordances of virtual worlds, and so we'd love to hear a little bit more about this one. Yeah, congratulations to Sue Noki in real life. PhD is done in March, she's finished. We also want to hear from Osna. Osna, do you have voice tonight? Now, do you have voice? Can you tell us a little bit about what you do here on EduNation? What keeps you here?
Yep. Can you hear me? Can you hear me or not?
Fine, loud and clear.
Oh, good. Yeah, I just checked. To my amazement, I see that I've been here for 10 years and 9 months. So I'm a perennial student. I think that's why I'm here, because I carry on learning. I love building, and sometimes Heiki has to say that we've got something very important coming along. Can you get rid of something because you're filling up, you're taking up all the space. But a serious thing I'd like to say, I belong to lots of groups and, at work and so on and so forth. What's very special for me about EduNation here is that I really feel we're a group, even a family. I'm English, so I mustn't be emotional, but I really have got to know people here. It's an amazing thing. I will say that Second Life is a very silly name, because where is Second Life if it's not in First Life? But it's one of the things that keeps me here. I see that when I'm building, I sort of copy backwards and forwards between both ends of First Life. I see things in Second Life and I try and reproduce them in my garden at home. And things that I manage to do at home, I try and do here. And I love having animals here and feel quite guilty when I don't go and see them very often. But yeah, I've been here for nearly 11 years, amazing. And I hope to be here for another 11, and that still, Carol, for example, who's over there somewhere, I think Carol taught me to walk and stand and sit when I first came into Second Life, and I'm still learning from her and from everybody around the fire. Over and out.
Thank you so much, Dennis. And yes, we do love you and see you building day and night. You're Bob the Builder in our place.
Yeah, we love you, Osna. You're very special.
And every time you're online, you go, oh, Dennis is online wrong. And there has been a period, like a year and a half, that you've not been around a lot. What did that make you when you came back to Second Life? What did you feel? How did you feel?
Yeah, that was amazing. I really wasn't very well for quite a time. Let me say it, why not? I'm bipolar. I'm sure it would be much more fun to be bisexual, but bipolar is much fun, and you sort of get switched on, you do anything. And I've been away for something like a year or two, and I came back into Second Life, and it was really extraordinary because people were still here, people like Heiki, the people who are here tonight, really, were here, and it was really marvellous coming back to First and Second and all the other lives. It was emotionally very, very helpful and rewarding to be able to get going again after 2 years' absence.
And we still love you, Osna.
Oh, I love to hear that. But I don't know how to rush in life.
You got us so emotional. Sue is already crying. Look, she sheds a tear. Look at the text chat. Now, we want to hear a little bit about from Pionia. Pionia, who is our very expert in emoting. And I think I was jealous at one time, Pionia, experiencing all this wonderful storytelling and medieval stuff that she's been role-playing for many years, and I kind of always envied her for this wonderful, wonderful experience. And at one time I did it also. I think it was about 3 or 4 months, this highly emotional, highly immersive experience in a virtual world of emoting and role-playing. Can you tell us more about it, Pionia? She seems to be away. Then we'll pass the word to somebody else, like... Hang on. No voice now.
I'll take the word. I'll take the word.
Yes, please. Fantastic.
Well, I'd like to catch up on what Dennis was talking about. And Dennis, yes, it is very, very, very nice to see you around still after 10 years. And I remember sitting next to you at the first conference on EduNation with Gavin Dutney in 2000 and when was that? 9, I think. And I was so excited. And I was also sitting next to Graham Davis. I can't remember his avatar name actually now anymore, but it was
Groovy Winkler.
That's right, Groovy Winkler. And I was so excited because I knew his website then, and I had just started as a language technology specialist at a university, and I was a bit at a loss in terms of technology, which I was to preach to teachers, and he was my savior, and then there I was sitting next to him. Anyway, just to catch up on what Dennis was saying about the second life and first life or real life or physical life. No, it is an amazing place to be, to meet people, to put ideas, collaborative ideas together, and then try to do something. So very briefly, talking about what I have been doing with the help of everyone, and Carol as well has been one of my first savior. I bet you remember how excited I was when I started building with you. Probably was completely hysterical actually.
It's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago. almost 10 years. I mean, probably 8 years. But yeah, so I'm a language technology specialist I was a language technology specialist in New Zealand, so I was helping teachers get acquainted with technology in all its forms. And Second Life attracted my attention after I tested Active Worlds. But it didn't go anywhere. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't find anyone. And basically, I found EduNation and that SLMOOC17 conference 2009, which made me start for real. So I have taken university students of French, Spanish, and Italian in World. And I've also taught a little bit of French just to people who were interested in learning languages. I found that the experience was actually very, very good for both the students, for the teachers as well, to reflect on what they can offer in terms of technology to their students. You know, set aside the video DVD that they're showing their students during an hour or two, and then ask them questions. There's a lot of other things that technology can give, and virtual was one of them. I've done a few machinima as well. I've participated with Machinevo, but only once actually, I must say, because then I got really busy real life with other projects, and I haven't been very active lately. Sorry guys, but I am back with a revenge, and I'm also back in France as well, in Europe, so I'm closer. So I hope I can contribute a bit more, and yeah, my page on languages, sorry, it's about global simulation. I'm interested in situated learning, dogma, experiential approach, communities of practice. That's my kind of research area. And virtual worlds have been able to provide pretty much a global view of all this. So that's it. That's it for me. If anybody has got any questions, I'm be happy to. Don't want to take too much time.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Pionia.
Okay, I got voice now.
Cool.
I am
Well,
guess
have
it's
a
your
go.
turn.
Please, yes, your turn.
Okay, so you know, as you can see, everything is possible in Second Life. Carlos is my student, and he's listening to you all guys. So he's going to have an exam later. I'm going to ask him what you were saying here. He is fascinated because he's listening to so many different pronunciations. Well, about me, I started with Webheads in Action. That's my original community, and some of you guys started with Webheads too. Some of them just move on, and from time to time they come back. But I stayed, and I got the chance to. I started with them in 2006, but I couldn't come to Second Life until 2009. I remember the first time I met Cyber. It was in a Web in Action session with Daphne. She took us to a Spanish village where we could learn Spanish. That was one of the first villages where you have the whole thing as a city with all the different shops and places to practice Spanish. I met Cyber there. It was love at first sight. We were wearing the same kind of clothes.
Yes, that's
but
right.
It was not the regular one. We were wearing rock stuff. I was wearing a
Guns N' Roses
t-shirt.
That's right.
So we hit at that time, and that was under the educational level. But once I was exploring, I landed in a role-play sim called the Villain, and I got hooked there with role-playing and emoting. That's where I learned to use tests to tell stories, and I thought that was a great way for students to learn the language. It was a multicultural community. It is still a multicultural community. I learned basic Second Life skills there in a community, and it was a village, so it was a global immersion, and the only thing that we couldn't use voice. Everything has to be written down. So this experience helped me to participate in some of the Evo Village projects. Evo Village is sessions that are part of the TESOL conference, and I had participated in the machinima making, and I was in charge of gestures and emoting at that time. And later on, and the last 2 years, we have been working with emoting and games. So I have given some workshops on how to emote in Second Life. Cyber is also really good at that, and Heiki also loves that too. Also, thanks to EduNation, I had a small school here where when I was back in Venezuela, I used to bring my students from graphic design school. So we had several projects here where they have to build posters and build exhibitions, and we worked also on creating graphics for a story by Leo Tolstoy. And also we worked with a wonderful project called My Face for Peace. So I got the chance to set the exhibition in EduNation. And so participating in these projects is the way I have learned all that I have learned here, and I keep on learning. And then Nellie invited, she has been inviting me for a long time to set a center, and I was all busy with other things, and we never had the time. But then Nellie met Maggie, and they have this center, and then they say, okay, the MOOCs came along, and so we say, okay, let's have this sort of MOOC where we can involve different tools, like different environments. We get Second Life or virtual worlds, and we get a Moodle platform, and so we get like this blended scene, and that's the story how Second Life MOOC came along. So I think I have talked a lot. That's all. I give back the floor to you guys. Thanks.
So much.
And I would still want to just pass the word to Jens for a minute or so in order to conclude with the slides, as it is nearing the full hour. So I promised not to do my slides longer than 10 minutes. And Jens, are you still all right?
Can you hear me? Okay?
Yeah.
Yes? Well, I will try to make it very short. Well, I am lucky to be a retired person now. Yes, and for about 5-6 years ago, I saw a notice at my primary school where there was a EU project, Avatar project, and I used to teach filmmaking and English as a second language in a primary school in Denmark. And I saw that notice and I thought, wow, that could be something very interesting to teach and work and experience a virtual teacher course, which European team of teachers from about 5 different countries had to be trained in that package, which had been made by some moderators. So we had to be trained in bringing in our own students in a virtual environment, and I find that very fascinating because now, for the first time, I could make film in a virtual environment. So, and the same rule applied in real life than when we made machinima in Second Life. That was very fascinating, and then when that finished, I was hanging out, which I still do, with you great people in EduNation. So that was very good. And then I took part myself in the first machinima Evo course, and later I took part in it. Being a moderator and used my experience there. But at the moment I am very fascinated of the 3D printing, because the 3D printing, I work as a consultant for a small firm where actually we work with 3D design, and we are able to print it out, of course, but at the same time we can import it into a virtual environment, and we could do collaborating projects with other European or other students, other classes around the globe. So we have a new possibility in the 3D printing and the designing process to bring it into a virtual environment, which make it very motivating for students also to apply that design process. And of course, being an older language teacher, I find it fascinating to be able to collaborate with some Spanish classes and so on. So I pop in and out and try to promote virtual teaching and 3D printing. That's my aim now, and of course advocate for the great potential of virtual teaching and the collaborating work and the great companionship with global teachers like you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we've just heard that's for the record of to read a little bit about Julie. Julie has been in ELT. She's been teaching in about 25 countries over a period of 30 years. Most amazing. Cess and Gerard Latte. Gerard, could you also let us know a little bit about yourself? Just a one-liner in text chat, which I'm happy to read. And Nellie also. And
should I just speak?
Yeah. Oh yes, Gerard, please.
Hi. So I've sort of been getting phone calls and stuff, so I haven't listened to everything. But yeah, I've been on Second Life for 9+ years, and one of the things actually that I found most interesting and useful was language interactions. I spent over a year meeting weekly with a French person to speak in French, which was great, and I also have helped teach English primarily to Japanese people, and participated in some Japanese lessons over the years. I've been kind of inactive for a while, but lately, particularly with this SLMOOC, I've been doing a lot more this last month or so. So actually, I noticed, one of the places that I've gone to a fair amount is Cypress Village, and they teach English there, but they also do have some weekly Japanese classes and some Japanese English sharing classes.
With Cypress Village, I tried to join them just recently, and the SIM seemed to have gone. Is that possible?
So they've moved around a bit. Let me see if I'll see if I can find the address and post it.
Oh, that's wonderful. I thought it closed down or anything. And how?
No,
what's the name? What's the name of the guy who runs Cypress again? He was around for a number of years.
Professor Merriman.
Yeah,
Professor
Mr. Merriman. Mr. Merriman, of course.
I haven't seen. Well, I haven't been there a lot, so I haven't seen him lately. I know that Misty Slade is still there.
Misty. Yeah, she's there from the beginning. Yes. She's there. She's Japanese, isn't she?
She is Japanese.
I went to one of her classes lately, so they're still there.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's lovely to hear. Yeah. Okay. I think we've heard everyone except for Hazel. Hazel, you have not been speaking.
Sorry, you caught me eating. You got me by surprise. Everybody seems to mention me in their machinima making exploits. So you've heard a bit about me, but I'm just here hanging around on EduNation, waiting to be used to help make people make machinima and have good fun. But I hand it back to you, and let's carry on with the show. Thank you.
Fantastic. So the show will conclude, but not conclude. If you'd like to hang on, I'm happy to it brings me to the presentation. Leah, we've turned a little bit the panel upside down, such as we had everybody talk a little, just present in the next 10 minutes about this wiki. It's called vlanguages.pbworks.com. It's just been created this month. It reflects on 10 years of the story of language learning in virtual worlds that we all have been creating. And it starts really here on this virtual ground, funny enough, and it starts in 2007 when Gavin Dudeny created EduNation. He founded it in 2007. It turned into 3 islands, and 3 years later he gave up on Second Life, and we took over, me and Randall, in 2010. So looking back, the 10-year history of this island, basically, and I will be sort of putting it, it is this virtual ground which gave sort of the fertile ground for letting things grow. And this is why I'm still forever grateful to Gavin, who took the initiative to go at a time, Second Life at that time was very popular, and so he was able to maintain it by having residents live here. And this is what we then continue to do with a focus of language learning. He did general educational, and we then said, no, we just want language learning, nothing else, no other university, nothing. And so EduNation, and on EduNation we run the annual languages, the annual symposium, and that in itself created a venue to share regularly on an annual basis the results of our work in Second Life. And many of us started here. A number of us never became residents. It's not not the reason to have to take on residency. It's just a matter of finding a space to sit together and to collaborate. And this is what I'm so happy about, to be really proud of being the owner of EduNation. See a couple of EU-funded projects that some of our residents were part of, like Jens, who was part of the Avatar project that brought him into Second Life in the first place. Then we ourselves ran Avalon and Camelot, obviously, it's well known. The TILA project, Nick Swartz, who's also a resident now on EduNation, is there. Crystal Schneider's just left. Letty Pianat, she's part of the university, EU-funded projects. So it's a number of, I mean, it's not even all of them on here. So this is the amount of research and development that was paid for by the millions, to be honest, by the European Commission in order to fund this research and development about language learning in virtual worlds. And rightly so, because it has wonderful potential. Now, the one that's been mentioned so often is the amount of machinima each one of us has produced. I mean, I've done a couple, and I'm so proud of them, and Anne 100, and Crystal 180, and I think Carol tops the 200, and Hazel, who's been involved in all of them, he tops 300 or 400s, if not more. And machinima galore, we have so many that we could fill tons of wikis with it. We will put out on this wiki obviously the best ones and the short ones, but we're immensely proud of them. And some of them are so beautiful, the design, and I mean, done by normal language educators, I could say. Fantastic 3D animations. Thanks, Carol, for being here. That's lovely. I know you've got a big move ahead, so I really appreciate you've been here. You've done 3 machinima. Yes, Osna. Even you. Yeah, fantastic. You've done machinima. I mentioned also the Evo sessions. Yeah, that we've done over the years. So every year in January, February is a big 5-week workshop as part of the EVO sessions, which is a fantastic opportunity for us to try out things. And as, somebody mentioned already, we're all going into the games corner at the moment, love to create games. EVO 18 coming up. Yeah, we want to call it languages, actually vLanguages. So, other things that are on the wiki, which I would love to share with you guys. Language schools. Learning Town is a fantastic example. Britlantis has been mentioned. Cyprus Village has been mentioned, and above all, English Town, which has been for many years in Second Life with a huge. I think they had about 20 sims in the end, with big, huge funding, and we hope that we will see a lot more language schools coming up. Then we have lessons and lesson plans, lesson ideas. This wiki will host all of that. I mean, I taught German for a couple of years in Berlin of the 20s in the old Hindenburg Schule. I also taught Japanese for several months, and there are blogs on which I recorded, or even the recordings of the sessions or some of the pictures and the kind of topics we looked at. And lesson plans were also part of Camelot, because each machinima had to go with a lesson plan, and that lesson plan was evaluated, and then the Camelot award was handed to the best lesson plan as well. And Helena got that one. We've been working at Mondo, so we now got, thanks to Hazel, we've got a lot of recordings of lessons having taken place in Edmondo, and we are grateful to the Italian Ministry of Education, or Indira, the research organization of the Italian Ministry of Education, to allow us to publish these things here. because they're obviously part of internal research, but then we are immensely proud and very, very happy because a number of EduNation residents here have been trainers, teachers trainers, amongst others, Shelwyn, Anne, Barbara, been teaching English, and their model teaching is on record, and so we're happy to give you a glimpse of what language tuition in virtual worlds could be like. And this in itself is so valuable that we are able to look over your shoulders, you really professional teachers. Yeah, we did we did the theater. Was it the what was the title of the theater? We did. I forgot about this one, but I'm sure to find the recordings. I'm sure to find the recordings to publish that again. Yeah, we did an amazing Brecht. Yes, Brecht. Which was the play? I can't remember. We also have books. We have book authors amongst us. Carol Rainbow and Crystal Schneider, they published a book on how to create and make use of machinima. They published it with an independent publisher, The Round, and an Amazon or a very renowned publisher, Randall, has published a book on virtual worlds and language learning, theory and practice. We've got another couple of books coming up. Sunacht has been also working on a recall, a very special recall issue. Recall is the magazine of Eurocal, and they are publishing at the moment a very special issue with regards to virtual worlds. And there are case studies, there are papers being published on research and development in virtual world, and all of this will be mentioned on this wiki. We've set ourselves something like a time limit of, say, end of the summer to put together all of this information, and perhaps by Evo to come up with a slim version of this immense amount of information of research and development, a slim version in form of a course, an online course that we could offer people at the EVO sessions for them to successively, over a period of 5 weeks, to learn everything about what entails language learning in virtual worlds. All that which we sometimes painstakingly have learned ourselves. So we have videos on how to get started in SL, how to get started with machinima. So the wiki is also full of videos, material of for people who are totally and utterly new to this virtual world environment. We have information about the research organizations who've been also part of EduNation, like Eurocal, Calico, and a French one, what is it called, ALSIC, etc. You know, lots of residents are in research and development. And then there will be information about games that can be played, language learning games that can be played in Second Life or in virtual worlds in general, for communication activities with the students. Which brings me to the end of the presentation. Not only to mention that one of the reasons I'm still around is because of this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful crowd. Treasured people who also have been here for many, many years. We absolutely love each other as a community. Yes, I totally agree, Cyber. We love each other and we appreciate each other's professionality. And we so much benefit from each other as well. That is me concluding the session. Thank you very much for attending the panel. And if you want to join us on EduNation, be more than welcome. I'm here every so often. By the way, about 12 p.m., that is sort of 2 hours before now, sorry. No, 1 p.m. That's our regular meeting time here in SL. 10 p.m. my time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it. And a big round of applause to everyone who shared for tonight.